Taylor, welcome to the Viall Files.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
We often like to start these episodes with a heavy question.
Oh.
I think it's appropriate for you. How's your heart?
My heart?
Yeah, how's your heart?
That
Just
is
like-
heavy.
Yeah, it's like early.
My heart right now is very full and overwhelmed. I would
Okay.
say.
Full and overwhelmed. That
Mm.
seems appropriate given where you're at today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Well, we have a lot to cover.
Okay.
We do appreciate you coming. I feel like this has been a long time coming.
Yes. 2 years ago, I talked to you.
Yeah, when MomTok blew up and
Mhm.
I think the soft swinging scandal ripped across America or the world,
Ripped
maybe.
across the world.
Was it
Took
international
the world
news?
by storm.
Probably. When it was TikTok, it was ginormous.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because in Europe, they always tell me, they're like, we love your story in Europe. I'm like,
Oh,
thank
boy.
you.
Oh boy. Yeah, we DM'd briefly
Yeah.
about getting you on the show,
Mhm.
and then I'm curious actually what happened after that. And then it didn't happen. I wasn't sure. You kind of disappeared.
Yeah. I think everything happened so fast.
Sure.
I think we had was it a phone call we had, maybe? I
Did
don't
we
know.
have a phone call? We might have talked about having a phone call.
I think you remember saying I sounded sad. You're like, she sounds really
Did we
sad.
talk on the
I
phone?
think so. And I don't know how that even happened, to be honest.
Nick has
Maybe
the worst
we didn't,
memory.
or maybe I have a
No,
bad
Nick has
memory.
bad
No, I
memory,
think we
yeah.
did talk on the phone. And then, yeah, and it seemed like,
Everything was too much. Like,
yeah.
I was like, I had, podcasts coming in. I'm like, okay, this is cool, but also like my life is falling apart. But I'm like, I also have to survive right now. So,
So could you bring us kind of up to speed on terms of, obviously we have the new show coming out. And when the show starts, there's some time jumps. It opens up, it seemingly shortly after MomTok
mhm,
kind of came out on the scene, shortly after the swinging scandal,
mhm.
but right before your arrest.
Mhm.
When did filming or the conversation around making this into a show start? And that kind of happened before the arrest? Like, where's the timeline in terms of how this all came to be? I am kind of curious because it seems like
Yeah.
it's been a long time coming. I think
Yeah.
there's been a lot of speculation.
Mm.
I wasn't sure when we first reached out if that was part of the reason why nothing really happened, because it was like, hey, we're actually filming a TV show.
I remember seeing a TikTok of you and Dakota, and it was like they're filming in some place. Like, what are they filming? What's going on?
Yeah.
And that was a long time ago. So yeah, I'm curious too.
Yeah. So I think once everything hit, I'm going to say July 2022, I think you had reached out. I talked to you before I had the offer. So no, I didn't know anything about that. I think I talked to you and I was like, am I going to go on here? It would have been a mess if I came on, let's just to say, because I was all over. I went on I think TMZ, and it was a mess because I just didn't have my thoughts ready. I was surviving. So I felt like I ended up just not, coming on and talking about it. And then the show got presented, I think, shortly after that. And, I was like, yeah, I would love to go on because I haven't had the time to tell my story and anything. You got a little piece of what actually had happened. So I was like, this will be the perfect opportunity to go on and tell my story. And of course, it was back and forth because they were trying to get the other girls involved. And of course, they didn't want to, right? They were like, if Taylor's doing it, we don't want to do it, vice versa. It was a huge mess there. And then, yeah, more MomTok got the opportunity, so they took it. So they were trying to get the green light with I think it was Hulu, right? I don't know if they were trying to see who wanted to pick it up, but Hulu did. And so we got the green light, kind of like a waiting game. And then I got arrested. So then it was I think they put a stop to it. I don't know if they wanted me on it at all. So they're
Okay.
we're going to do this without Taylor. So they did casting again. And then I think, I can't speak for them, but I think they kind of watched me after and kind of see where I took my life. Was it for better or for worse?
Sure.
Mhm.
And so they're I think let's add Taylor back on,
Okay. So let's rewind a little bit.
Okay.
When you first came out on the scene and you were all of a sudden hey, I'm Taylor Frankie Paul. I'm a Mormon. I'm a swinger. Life's crazy. What even
Mhm.
prompted you to even start that
Yeah.
chaos, so to speak?
Okay. So we were obviously in an open relationship with a group of friends.
And when you say we, you and your ex-husband?
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, and my best friend, so, and some other people, but
When you say best friend, you mean also your ex-husband, or there was another person?
yeah, another person,
Okay.
obviously the group. So I have my husband, and then I have my best friend, and then her husband, and then some other people.
Are there names out there? Are they public figures as well, or are they
Mm.
are they of trying to avoid being brought up in this conversation? Because it does seem kind of unclear, right? Like who
Yeah.
was actually involved
Yeah,
in
it's
this?
like, is it the girls on the show with you? Because they all seem like kind of mad that you said this, but then it's like, was it even them? It is very confusing.
It is. It's a sticky situation because it's not like it's my story of like what happened to me, but also people involved, and I feel like I owe them some sort of like privacy and respect.
Totally.
But I'm also trying to give the story, so of my part.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard to like not like full on like I mean people kind of know. Like if you really wanted to like my friends, like it's out there. And yes, she is a public figure. So it's not hard to put the finger on, and they've come out and podcasts have came out since the show is coming.
So they've spoken on it.
Yes, but which to why, right? Like why are they getting scared? Why are people scared? And it's like you guys are just like outing yourself still at this point. Like I'm never going to come clean and like say names. Like that is up to them if they want. In which there's a podcast out now and different stories, and it's just it's messy there. Again, like I can only tell like my side, so I know that's why. And then the girls in the show, they were kind of like involved because I had said MomTok. Someone from MomTok's involved, so everyone was like, "Oh, everyone."
So you're
trying to figure out who it was in the MomTok group.
Are you still best friends with this girl?
No. That ended.
There's been a total falling out
That summer, yes.
because you outed everyone.
So that one is more. It's actually I don't think I've even gone more into detail about that. So the day I going back, I had an affair at the night of we were all drinking, and I had an affair with one of the men that we were already intimate with. Like,
okay, so let's back up even. How did the whole swinging stuff start?
it wasn't even a conversation. I think we were all drinking, and partying, and then the guys were like, you girls should make out. Like, make out, it's hot. I'm like, okay, it's hot. And so we make out, and that's that. And I feel like I'd done that in my younger years. It wasn't a big deal to me. So I was like, okay. And then
college, yeah.
Yeah, like, but we're all, married Mormons with kids, but yeah, like the same thing. Yeah, so we just did that, and then I think we did another. The guys were like, "Oh, that was awesome!" Like we were driving home, it was just like this weird, like whatever. Again, we threw another party, and same thing. And then it was like, "Let's take off your clothes and do lingerie pictures together while making out." And it just like escalated.
Everyone was kind of turned on by.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many couples are
at this point? Two. It's just me and another couple. Well, it's just us and another couple.
Just a
It
foursome.
starts. Yeah. So very. Yeah, it just like escalates, and then we do this for a while with this couple, cabin parties, making out in the same bed. Intercourse in the same bed next to each other, and the girl's kissing and the husband's touching the other wives. I don't know if you want details, but like it just like
we want details.
Okay,
Yeah.
It just starts to escalate and then there's another couple. We have parties, and you can kind of gauge like I don't know how you know, but you kind of can gauge who would be down and who wouldn't.
Yeah.
So there was another couple that we brought in probably a year later, and he's like, "Yeah, we should get the girls to make out." Like he jokes, the husband, and so the husband, like the other guys are like. Oh, okay. Like this guy's probably down, right? And so they bring this couple in, and so the couple's like, "Do you guys want to have like a foursome?" Like one of our second times hanging out, and we're like, "Whoa!" And so me and my husband start to escalate with this couple because they're like more down, and you could
original.
Yeah, you could just tell like this one is like all on board, where the other one's maybe like one's on board, one's
Held back
not.
a little bit. Yeah.
So I feel like things kind of went crazy there, and then there was a point that. To be, I guess if you want details, we were at a cabin. I'm with this other man completely naked. Like we're about to like go full force. And then he's with the wife he's about to go full force.
Your
And,
ex-husband.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think he comes to he's like super drunk. He comes to like this realization of like,
your ex-husband or the other guy? Okay.
Yeah, my ex. And he's like, we can't do this. Like, what if one of you gets pregnant? We don't know like who's the dad. Like this is not okay. Like,
Yeah. And we say that out loud. It gets weirder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're like, okay, yeah, you're right. Like, I don't even know how we got to this point. So he like says, let's cut back. Let's maybe not do this. And the other couple, right? The man of the other couple is like, yeah, let's not do this anymore with this couple because this man is getting jealous of like this situation. So it gets really weird really fast, and like let's chill. And so my husband's like, okay, maybe we should stop doing it with our best friends, like our friends, and like maybe we could do this with strangers. Like I think he wanted to close the whole thing down because he's like, he could kind of see people are creating feelings at this point, like friends, like you can tell people are like getting jealous, weird, and so he's like, let's cut this out, And so I'm like, okay, well, it kind of sucks because we're used to this party now. Like I'm like, this is fun. Like why? And so I wasn't on board then. And so we were kind of on different pages the whole time. And then, yeah, I ended up catching feelings for one of the men in the group. and one of the men caught feelings for me. So it was kind of like 3 out of the 6 caught feelings. And then I had the affair. I had an emotional affair. Like, I feel like we were all texting each other weirdly anyways. Like, it was just a weird thing. Like, everyone was.
When this started, I mean, you describe it, I mean, maybe innocently is the wrong word, but you guys, the way you describe it is like, inexperienced swingers in a way.
Yes. We had no idea what was going on.
And you were being very experimental.
Yes.
And it seemed like, you almost like a bunch of young, kind of inexperienced people who didn't do the thing that I think people who do participate in this lifestyle often do, which is set very clear and defined boundaries. And there seems to be people with, I guess, at least some experience. I think there's the sex element of swinging and things like that. That, it's the juicy stuff, the stuff, the details we want to know type of thing.
Yeah.
But there is, I think, for the people who participate in this kind of untraditional lifestyle, for those who do it, I get successfully.
Yeah.
There are rules and there are boundaries and there are clear conversations. And I get the impression that none of that was going on in your group.
No. Nope. I mean, the most we had a conversation with my husband was like, let's just make sure we're not doing any of that, like behind closed doors with anyone, like no sneaking off, like, because these parties got, pretty crazy. You're drunk, like you don't know where everyone is at all times. And so it was like messy. And so I think we like came to terms, and that's where I went wrong.
Was it like at some point at the height of these crazy parties were individuals in relationships kind of like sneaking off to another room, like almost like a high school college party where like people disappear and you're then in a room and they hook up? Or is this all in the same room together, orgy style?
I want to call it the after hours of our parties. So I would say they were at cabins and then my house.
Okay.
So we would have lots of people there, like lots of couples. I would say that like to like drink, everyone was flirty and whatever. And so they'd go home and then the main people would stay, and it's kind of where things would escalate. So like one of the husbands was always spending the night at my house, like without his wife. She'd go home and he'd spend the night. Nothing really ever happened like without her, but like it was weird that he was staying the night in general, Like my husband would be like, I don't know, like he's here, like he would go in and check on me at night, like because we had separate bedrooms. I don't know if you remember that. Like
You and your ex-husband did?
I talked about that a lot, I feel like, but like more on like podcasts and stuff, and is on the news. I don't know why, but anyways, like
CNN. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mormon slept in separate bedrooms, breaking.
No, the really sad thing, it was like you can make a marriage work with separate bedrooms, and it was on the news, and then my news came out after, and it was like it was bad.
No.
It was a mess in itself in that one. That's another story. But so he'd come in and check on me. But yeah, it was the after hours. Like we would just get down like after everyone left, and it would be in a room, or the living room of a cabin. We'd get blindfolds and play spin the bottle, and everyone would make out with everyone. You get a blindfold, all the husbands would have to like, kiss me and I have to guess, and vice versa. And
Wow.
It's very Love Island.
Very
yes,
Love Island.
lots of games. Like,
yeah. Very creative of y'all.
Okay, so Love Island, that was the first time I ever saw it, was a season. And I'm like, I was watching it, I was like, yeah, that is literally all the games I played. Like,
Oh no.
at my house. It was pretty bad. So
where were your children while these swinging parties were happening?
they were at like my mom. So
Your
they
moms. Okay.
and she came out and was like, I would have never babysat for you if I would have known that was going down. Like
Oh wow.
I would have never done that, and or they'd be upstairs
Wow.
out with their white noise machine on.
With their white noise machine on.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's really bad to admit, but like it was that. And then I think that's where the guilt, still sticks. But
I think there's obviously, going into this new season, I think there's always been a fascination with the Mormon religion. I grew up very Catholic, not the same as Mormon, but I'm very familiar with a very devout upbringing. And obviously a lot of the expectations, the shame around sex, the pressure of maintaining a certain lifestyle, or at least the appearance of a lifestyle, I think is very fascinating. I think that's why so many people are excited and fascinated for this show. As you look back, what role did your upbringing in your religion, your faith, how you I don't know how devout you are today, how did that play a role in this all happening, the soft swinging? Or is that just kind of like, we happen to be Mormon, but like honestly, that has nothing really to do with it?
Well, I feel like I can't speak for like them, but I will say a lot of them, like their spouses were like their first person they'd ever been with.
Okay.
So, that being said, I feel like this was like such, like you're saying, like it's something you do in college, and so I feel like didn't really experience that. My ex drank or, partied for the first time at age 29. So it was like very new to them.
Oh,
and so it was
yeah.
exciting. And so I felt like for me, I had partied like in my younger years. So I experienced this, but I think for them, they didn't. So it was like very like, that's why it was so messy. It was just so fast and we didn't know what we were doing. And we were like almost like kids,
Yeah.
acting like it. But religion, I guess that's the only part is like, I feel like they were so devout as growing up, like a lot of them, that this was like just like, a can of worms open. And so it was like an experience. But for me, I feel like, religion didn't play a part in it other than guilt of like, this is wrong.
Mhm.
And I think maybe not even religion. You can kind of see like that's probably not right. But in our heads, it was right. It was okay because our spouses knew. We were on the same page. So I felt like it wasn't wrong. In the time, I was like, this is fun. We're not doing anything wrong. Like, this is good. Like,
I think Nick can relate to just the like feeling guilt of, like being so Catholic growing up and then like you like making out with a girl or something and you'd be like, wait, no, this is wrong. I'm not allowed to do
there's definitely
this.
like any time when I was in high school, if I would, mess around with someone, there's always like a shame hangover the next couple days of like, I shouldn't have done that or, all these things. Or
Well, you're raised with it to feel that way.
Yeah.
So how do you not?
Yeah, it definitely fucks with you. And I think when it comes to the Mormon religion, there's a lot of, it seems, or whether it's the Mormon religion, I guess, or any other kind of devout Christian faith-based, life, there seems to be a lot of loopholes, it seems like, or stories you hear about Mormons. What's the very common one?
Soaking.
Oh, gosh. No.
No.
I don't know if that's, I don't know. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Okay. Is that a thing?
It's a thing.
It is a thing.
It is over in Orem, Utah, your favorite, No, it's a thing.
And
though.
for the people who don't know what that is.
You want me to say, right?
Well, I mean,
Or does Natalie
I
want
can say.
Okay.
It's the guy just puts his penis inside of the woman and doesn't move. Just
and then
sits
you
there.
have a friend bounce?
Is that real though? Does a friend actually jump on the bed to move?
I don't know if that part's real.
That seems crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like you have to bring
And I'm not even bringing up to like do a master class on
soaking.
Yeah.
But it's more how much, that's a very specific one, but how much of that kind of stuff goes on in the Mormon faith with people? Are there a lot of like loopholes?
Oh,
People
yeah.
talk about like anal sex. Like, is there are there conversations in the Mormon community where like anal sex isn't losing your virginity or oral sex is like,
Absolutely.
how does that work in with people in your community?
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to speak for them because, they'll all come at me saying she doesn't speak for us, but like
Just from your point of view.
it happens. It happens. And I feel like, yes, you're trying to find this like loophole of like, is it such a natural desire, to want to, have sex and whatnot, especially with someone you love, right? That's just like, but we're taught that don't do it until you're married. So it's like, bad, you're married, good. And so I feel like for women, it is a little like, I've heard stories of where they felt very confused of like what they're supposed to do on their wedding night because it's so taboo to talk about it. It's uncomfortable. A lot of people aren't. And so they're scared to go to their parents too because we're taught it's wrong, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know for the loop. I was never like by the book. So a more devout Jen might be the one to ask how that is, or like Whitney, she's a return missionary. I was a little against the rules all the time too, and I would wake up feeling, guilt. And even for like a cup of coffee, like that one I had to like let go because like I would drink coffee and I'd feel like this guilt because you're not supposed to. And so when you're saying you'd wake up with that like hangover of guilt, it's very real and true. In that sense though, I feel like I was more on the wilder side with like, I still did all of that, even though I wasn't supposed to. And so the other girls might be better for that question.
Gotcha. But so from your standpoint, you're basically saying the soft swinging phase of your life was more just Taylor being the wild child, but maybe for the other participants, there might have been some religious, rebellious
absolutely
elements to it.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. And I feel like still a good girl too for like 6 years of my marriage. Like I didn't drink, I didn't do anything crazy. Like I was very like, I feel like a good wife and partner. And I felt like also I did have a wild side. So when that opened, I was like, let's go. Like, you know, like it was just like almost like.
You felt like it was almost Pandora's box.
Yes. Yes. I don't know if that's good to admit, but yeah, like it just felt like, I don't know. I've been so good. It felt freeing. I don't know. Is that the right word?
That's not a bad thing.
Let's talk about your arrest. I feel
Okay.
like
Wait, before we get to the arrest,
Okay.
why did your marriage end?
Yeah, I think the affair, but I think more than all, we were obviously, I think, struggling already. And it was done before it was done. And so I think we kind of came to the conclusion of like, it's best that we part ways. You know, we said we'll give it the summer and see where things go. But I think we kind of knew deep down it's like done.
was that after the affair came out or
Mhm.
before?
But before for me, I asked for separation, I think twice before.
Okay.
So I was like at least trying to get clarity of like, do I want this? It was more like I needed like some space to think about everything. And then I think everything escalated so fast. And I think the night of everything, that story I haven't really told either. I don't know if you want me to tell, but like
We'd
basically
like you to tell.
one of the husbands came up to me in the group and came and told me he had feelings for me at the gym. And so nothing was like over text or anything. So I didn't like have any proof, but I came home and told my husband, I was like, your best friend just told me he had feelings for me. So I just want to let you know. In my head, I'm like, okay, we're messing with fire. Like, he's like, okay, yeah, we opened those doors. Like, I'm not happy he told you that because he was expecting something in return. So, like, I feel like he went behind my back, but also we've put ourselves in the situation. Like, he kind of knew.
Mm-hmm.
And me in my head, I already know what was going on. Like, I had feelings for this other man. So it was like really messy. So the wife, it gets out that he tells me that because I tell the wife of this other couple. She goes and tells people, it gets out.
So you told your ex-husband, then you also told a friend of yours.
Yeah, the friend group kind of. And then, yeah, I did tell the friend group. And then the wifey over here calls and says, hey, I heard this. Like, you have something to tell me. I'm just curious what it was. And this is my best friend. So I'm like, I knew the second, because I debated to tell her. I'm like, okay, if I tell her, I lose my best friend forever. But I don't have feelings for him. So I feel like I don't know what to do. But if I don't tell her, I'm a bad friend. So like, I'm sitting in the middle here. I go not telling her, and then she's like, do you have something to tell me? I heard this, and so I like deny it. Her husband's calling me on the other phone. Deny. Like,
Oh, wow.
and I'm like, oh, I think we should just come clean. Like, we've all messed up. Let's come clean. Like, this is really heavy. Like, I can't do this. Like, I'm like having panic attacks
And
at this point.
there's another man that you've been hooking up with outside of the
I mean, I kissed
swingers.
him. Yeah, like I wasn't like sleeping with him. Or
Okay.
anything.
She said it was an emotional.
Okay.
Yeah, but then I
Okay.
did sleep with him the one night.
Gotcha. So there
I'll
there
get
was
to that.
another okay.
Yeah. So the husband's calling me, deny. I'm like feeling like shit because I'm like, this is a shitty person. I'm a
Mhm.
shitty person right now. And I tell my husband and he's like, I think you just need to tell her. Like, I ended up denying it, and she's like, just come over to my house. So we all go to their house that night. I get there and I'm taking shots because I'm miserable. Like, I'm a horrible person. I like black out, I think, within the first 10 minutes there. And then I call my friend, or I was in the corner, and the husband of who I was having the affair with comes in the corner. And then the other husband that gets jealous comes and he's like, they're like talking really weird in the corner back there. Like, something's going on. So my husband comes over. He's like, what's going on? Like, so this is like where it's like blowing up. I'm like, I just gotta go. So I call a friend to come pick me up. I go to my friend's house. I'm at my friend's house. You have the guy that I'm having the affair with calling me. Can I come pick you up? You have the other husband. Can I come pick you up? My husband, where are you? Like, everyone's calling me. I'm belligerent. Like, I'm like drunk, but I'm like still like, I think I ignore everyone, but I told him where I am. And then the guy I was having an affair with is like, can I come pick you up? And his wife sends him to come pick me up.
Did she
And
know?
About no, but they wanted me to come spend the night with them. Like, you see, it's just weird. Like, the whole thing's weird. And so,
It's out of control.
yes. And so the guy I had an affair with comes over. I hook up with him at that house. And then
That night.
And I don't remember much of it. And I won't say, like, I don't want to call it anything, but I just don't remember much of it. I was pretty blacked out. And I've never claimed anything. I know people are like, well, you just like sexual assault. And I'm like, no, like, I full on believe that I wanted that. So I like never have claimed that. So, but I cannot say like what had happened in that room. I do know I slept with him. I woke up very messed up down there. And so that was really, really bad. Like, oh, that was so hard. Sorry. Like,
No, that must be really hard. I mean, was he also drunk or was he sober?
I don't know. I can't say. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, my husband came and picked me up. I denied like everything that night. And he's like, I actually didn't even ask me. He took me home and he like took care of me. Sorry.
It's okay.
And then
Take a deep breath. Okay.
I don't want to cry. Sorry.
There's a tissue right next to you.
He came and he asked me, he's like, did you do anything last night with him? And I was like, no. And of course the husband's like, deny. The other husband's like, deny. And like, I'm like, okay, like, I'm like so lost. And I ended up coming clean that day. That I did. And they're like, he came clean. So I'm like, yeah, we did. Like, I just wanted to come clean. And it was like the worst day because I hurt him. That's where I'm like, still like, I don't think I'm like healed from that yet. Like, I just like, that's so shitty to do to someone. And lying about it.
Do you feel like you were lying to protect your marriage or to protect the guy you were having the affair with or to protect your best friend?
I think to not admit anything. Like, I just think I was like hiding it because I'm like, at that point I knew if I'd say something, everything blows up. Like, this is done. Like, my life's like with my life with this is over with my husband, you know? So I figured like, yeah, he's gonna, you know, leave me, which is fine. I guess this way is what's shitty, you know?
Right.
And yes, my friend. And so everything blew up that day. He found out, you know, he's freaking out. And it was very unexpected, I think, for him. Like, because I think he might have gauged it maybe with the other husband, but not this one. So I think it blind was like, whoa, you know?
And this was his best friend?
Both of his really close friends. Yeah. And I told the truth. I had my mom come over. She's like, what's going on? I told her everything, like what I just did. My friend, I told her she was going to stand by my side, my best friend. And then like, she was like, no matter what you've done, like, I'm here for you. But then my husband, my ex, goes and tells them like, by the way, your husband told her she had feelings for you and she didn't tell you. So then of course she's like, yeah, Taylor's lying. He never said that. They like in denial. And I'm like, okay, like that doesn't do anything for me to like make up that lie. Like,
right.
Yeah, that's a shitty position you were in.
I lost everyone in that day. So
I mean, the whole thing's obviously a mess, but some other person telling you they have feelings for you is not your fault. Obviously, you were trying to protect, I guess, probably everyone in that moment. So then you tell your best friend a lie.
Well, I knew I lost her if I told her that, you know?
Why would you have lost her if her husband said, I had feelings for you?
Well, I don't know.
That's just like ultimate women hating women when, you know, like that's from a woman's standpoint, it's like,
she would have blamed you for it?
Well, not only that, but you would want to never hang out with me again, right? Like,
yeah, you wouldn't like trust
your husband
No,
with
I
your,
guess.
you know,
I mean,
it would definitely ruin the friendship. I can
for sure. And not only that, like, yeah, it was just a mess. And he denied it, of course, and said he never said it. And I'm like, I don't care if you don't believe me. That's fine. I don't care. Like, that does nothing for me. That makes me look worse of a person. Why would I make that up? That lie that doesn't do anything for me. But yeah, and then that happened, and I lost everyone that day.
Have you talked to your best friend since, the one that was married to the man you had the affair with?
Yeah, so she wasn't my best friend.
Oh.
So I'd only know them for 2 months.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I want to clear that up because like
clarification.
Yeah, I would like to say I'm a girl's girl. I know that doesn't sound like good, but like I barely knew them. They were very instigating the situation too. So it was like in my head, like she instigated a lot as well. And I didn't know her that well.
Okay.
And this is my best friend. Like I've never done that. Never in a million years. Like,
what sounds like as soon as he told you, you were uncomfortable.
Yeah. Oh, he
It's
knew.
like you knew what it meant.
Yeah.
When he told you.
Yeah. He was uncomfortable.
Who?
The man. Yeah. When he told me, he was very like, you could tell he's like nervous. And he had sent texts, which I had like, I have to tell you a secret. And I was like, what's the secret? We don't have secrets. And he's like, I can't tell you. Like, it's very like, it's secret. Like I had all those texts and I was like, if I need to send them, like I will, like to your, wife. But she saw them, I think. And it was just like never enough. And so I was like, that's you. And at the time, other things were coming out about him. So I'm just like, that's you to deal with, not me anymore,
So what made you bring all this drama to TikTok?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the couple over here, my best friend and her husband, they call another part of the friend group and it was like, Taylor had an affair by like no details of anything. And so it hits the internet. Like people are like, Taylor cheated. I guess I'm sure someone in the group put it on Reddit or it's not hard. Like, I don't know who did, but it ended up hitting the internet. And then all my TikToks are like, cheater, husband stealer or whatever. And so I was like, and then the girls were like confirming it, my friends, like liking it. So basically it's confirming it. And I'm like, okay, well, if you're going to do that, then I'm just going to go tell the story. So
Sure.
I got online, not thinking at all, but like, hey, yes, I did do this. But yes, she was hooking up with my husband just the other night too. Like
Mm.
it just didn't. I just feel like it wasn't fair to come out and say husband stealer, but you're also hooking up with my husband. Like it wasn't done the right way in my
You felt
part
you needed to give context
of how this
of
happened.
how it got to where it did.
Yes.
I can empathize with that. It feels like the entire internet is coming at you.
Yeah.
I mean, I know from your standpoint, I'm sure it felt that way. And
Yeah.
you're being labeled this one thing. But the truth is, you're like, we've all been doing this kind of crazy thing.
Mm.
There's a lot more to the story than just I am some sort of home wrecker,
Yes. Yes.
all the things that I'm sure the internet that you were seeing being said about you.
Yeah.
I imagine that was difficult.
Well, I could have left it at that. And I would have been known as the friend that takes your friend's husband. Like, yeah, I would have been, I feel like, labeled as that if I never had came clean about anything. And they would have all been great and hidden, and I would have been labeled as that. And I just feel like, no.
So you have no regrets in terms of coming out with this information?
No, I think how I went about it, maybe I would have thought a little more clearly. But also, I probably would have always came out and said something about it because that's just not, I just didn't go do that, like out of, because I was bored, like
Right.
it grew to that.
And to your point, it was out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was out there already. So, like, I just came on and said, and I never thought it'd blow up. I was like, a couple of my followers will see this. Great. I'll solve it. And then it blew up.
At that point, how long had you guys been MomTok? Like, how long had you been, like, quote unquote public figures? I'm assuming relatively not long.
A year about with MomTok. And then I had been doing social media for, like, probably 2 years on TikTok.
Okay.
So your marriage ends.
Yes.
And then how long until you meet Dakota?
2 months.
Oh, wow.
So it's like in the process of divorce.
Oh, wow.
And then he meets a girl. So we're both, like, dating. So which was, yeah.
Well, I mean, when Nana and I met, we hung out for a while and we weren't in an exclusive relationship. And we were both very open about that we weren't exclusive. And it wasn't one of those, like, we're not boyfriend and girlfriend, but we're exclusive, which is kind of like muddies the waters with people. We were very clear. And so, there was a period when we knew each other where it wasn't exclusive, which, was difficult for us at times to be open about.
Yeah.
And with watching the season or just understanding you and Dakota, it seems like a lot of the conflicts you guys have is around this, what seems to be this early dating period where you guys weren't exclusive, but you were also hanging out with each other.
Yeah.
And feelings were being exchanged along with other things, but then there was almost some revisionist history once you guys did establish yourselves to be in a relationship, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was very messy because it was great. And I think it was at the tail end of everything. And I had just, like, closed things off with the guy that I had an affair with. So, like, it was like we were friends during all, like, that summer. Like, we still saw each other.
So after you came clean about the affair, that continued for a while?
Yeah. Well, we had no one. So everyone, like, basically dropped us. And I was, like, literally,
Did his marriage also end?
yes. Everyone's marriage is now ended
Oh, wow.
in the group.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Everyone.
So
Yeah.
your best friend's marriage and this couple that you'd only known for 2 months marriage. also
Yeah.
ended.
Yeah. And then there was other people there, like some that would, like, I don't know, watch. And then their marriages ended too. Like, there
Wow.
was a couple that one of them just watched. I don't know. It's, like, messy.
Would you say that it was like a scarlet letter walking around Utah if everybody knew or was a part of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, when it was being done, no. I feel like it was
Yeah.
very hush hush.
Well, like once everybody knew,
Oh,
like
yeah.
the marriages broke off.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Did anyone blame you?
In the situation or the public?
No, it's just more like you got accused of being the home wrecker,
Mhm.
Reddit. People are talking about you on Reddit. So then you go on TikTok, you tell this whole story. It becomes literally a national story.
Yeah.
So I could see how it'd be very easy for these other couples to blame you because, as we know, especially in religious communities, it's more about the sin or the shame or
Yes.
about, like, as long as people don't know about it, we're fine. But the moment our entire community thinks we're something else, it becomes very difficult to live with. That's the impression that I get. Is that accurate? And I guess that's what I'm wondering. Do people blame you because it's like, hey, we were fine before everyone knew we were swingers, and now that people know we're swingers, we can't make this work?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it was a big blame on me, but I think they were all going to get divorced regardless if it hit the internet or not. Like that, I found out they were getting divorced before that hit the internet. So the last one that got divorced, I think they had issues prior to that as well. So yes, but they did put all the blame on me. Like, Taylor was the instigator. Taylor did this. Taylor did that. And I'm just like, okay, like we're all adults here. Like everyone made their own decisions. Everyone, played a part in it. And maybe they blamed to bring to the internet and made it this huge thing. Sure. Yeah, maybe that was my part I did. But like, I didn't force anyone to do anything that they didn't want to do, But there was, fingers pointed at me and people came out and apologized.
After hearing your story, I mean, like I know what it's like to be in the public eye. I know what it's like to be online. So if we were friends way back in the day and you were to come to me saying, hey, there's these Reddit rumors, yada, yada, I would have been like, hey, don't do the TikTok because I don't think you realize the platform you have and the light you're going to shine on it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who have been in the public eye for much longer than you have. I see make that mistake every day today. So it's hard to sit there and criticize someone in your shoes, knowing that it feels like everyone's talking about you and you feel like you have to defend yourself. Obviously, I think with the benefit of hindsight, but at the same time, you don't seem like you really regret it anyways, because you were kind of put in that position.
Yeah. So I feel like if it were me that had gone first and like laid this all out, I feel like I'd feel really guilty. That would sit on me. Like I brought this to the internet for why? Why would you do that? I feel like it would have been unnecessary. So I would have felt guilty. Absolutely. I don't know if I even would have. That's my own dirty laundry out there too. It's like, why would I do that to myself? And this was like awful for me. This wasn't good at all. Like I was a major villain in that story.
Yeah.
Do you hold any resentment towards the husbands or the man that you had the affair with, of just like you are taking the brunt of all of this hate or I don't know. I mean, I've never heard of them before. So are they even, I mean, I know their marriage ended, but like, are they?
No, there's no resentment there because I think at the end of the day, I put myself in the situation. I did all this to myself and there's no one to blame but me, So there's no resentment towards them. I think the only thing that really hurt is like the friends, I guess, like when they kind of like blamed like the parties on me, the drinking on me. That was like, okay, but I didn't make you do any of that,
Yeah.
That's what hurts, honestly. It's like they're wanting someone to blame for their own decisions that they made themselves.
Right.
But no resentment towards them. That was all on me, myself.
Okay. One of my favorite things to do is knowing where Nick is. It makes me feel super at ease, and he always knows where I am thanks to Life 360. Justin, I know, was like raised on this app, and please tell me more about it.
No, yeah, my favorite thing about Life 360 is that my parents are divorced, and Life 360 makes it so easy to see who's coming from what house to the other house. My sister just started driving, so I can literally see her drive from my mom's house to my dad's house. No fights, really easy, and I know she's safe at every second.
That is super cool. I can't wait for one day when River drives to be able to have Life 360 because you can see the speed that they're going. Life 360 has your family's back when they're on the road with things like crash detection, emergency dispatch, roadside assistance, and driver report cards, which is so perfect for freshly licensed drivers.
Knowing where everyone in your family is at any given time. Yes, please. Anything that help with the mental load of just, hey, listen, taking care of your family can be stressful. Knowing where all your loved ones are gives you the peace of mind that you definitely want in your life. And Life 360 can certainly bring that to you. Coordinate the chaos of the back-to-school season with Life 360. Visit life360.com or download the app today and use code VIALL to get 1 month of the gold package for free, plus 15% off all tiles. That's life360.com, code VIALL. Hey, it's football season. It's very exciting times. And it can make it even more exciting? Well, DraftKings can do that because DraftKings is the NFL's official sports book. So listen, you can make bets on your favorite teams or teams that you don't even like. You can keep the action fun. If your man and his team aren't doing so well, keep the energy light with DraftKings. I promise you'll keep it very entertaining. Introduce some DraftKings into your life and you will let the excitement flow. If your man's betting, maybe you can too. A new season means new ways to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like picking a player to score a first touchdown. That, don't even have to know who they are. You just flip a coin. Honestly, score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the best place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code VIALL. That's code VIALL for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets. When you bet just $5 and get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium on us, your man in your life will love you. Get him the NFL Plus Premium for free. Get yourself $250 in bonus bets. And all you got to do is bet $5. You will be the hero in your house. Trust me on that. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at NFL.com/terms. Tushy! Bidets are great. They keep it fresh. They keep it clean. Less friction. That's all I'm going to say.
Tushy is making modern and sustainable bidets, giving you a great alternative to toilet paper. We all love to be clean, so why shouldn't the same apply to your butt? If you're still using toilet paper, you're living in the past. It's dry, breaks apart, and doesn't work that well. You deserve a deeper, better clean.
The Hello Tushy Bidet uses fresh water the same as your shower or sink, never from the bowl, to give you the precision clean that you deserve. It's simple to use, even for first-time users. Sit back, do your business, spray to clean, and pat to dry. Plus, the install is super easy. It can be done in just under 10 minutes.
Their system cuts down your TP use by 80%, saving money and your plumbing. It's the chemical-free way to clean your butt and prevents poo particles from spreading to your hands and everything you touch. Every Hello Tushy Bidet comes with a 30-day hassle-free return and 12-month warranty. Make the restroom your best room with the complete Tushy system, including the Tushy Bidet attachment, ottoman, toilet brush, and Tushy stand and tissues.
Stay shower fresh all summer long and join the 2 million butts who already switched to Tushy. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first month bidet order when you use code VIALL at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com. That's HELLOTUSHY.com with promo code VIALL. Our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order when you use code VIALL at checkout.
Okay, so 2 months later, you meet Dakota.
Yes. Oh, and that is drama in itself.
Like, why is it so much drama, though? Like, what? How?
I'm like surviving at this point, hating my life, insecure, feeling guilty, feeling shitty. And I meet this great guy. I really like him. Like, I click with him instantly. And I'm like, okay, like, this is my guardian angel. Like, he's just nice. Like, he's just listening. He's been in a very dark place. He's a recovering addict. So he's like been in dark places. So he just wants to like help me and like be there for me. But then
I got to assume him being a recovering addict created a safe space for you in a way that made you feel less judged. I'm guessing he was too busy judging himself and trying to heal that.
Yeah.
He probably created a very unjudgmental atmosphere for you, which made you feel safe.
Yes. And he opened up about a lot of things, which are his story to tell. So yes, it made me feel very comfortable and I felt good and safe. And this just guy, like, I'm like, great. Like, it's going to get me out of this hellhole, you know? Mm-hmm. And yeah, so we start to date and I'm like, okay, one thing I want is just honesty and a fresh start. That's what I want going into this. Cause like that, I don't want that ever again. And so I was very clear to him in the beginning. And so when he asked me, I think our third time hanging out, like, hey, well, like, what are we? I was like, well, we're nothing. We're on our third date, you know, like, but you are the only one I'm seeing. He's like, okay, cool, me too. And then we make a TikTok together and a girl's like, oh, just so you know, he was like at my roommate's like last week sleeping with her. So just want to let you know, hopefully you're not dating. And so I'm like, okay, so I see it on the internet. I text him. I'm like, hey, have you like hooked up with anyone since seeing me? He's like, I did with one girl. And so I was just like, okay. I text him and he's like, yeah, I'm so sorry. He sends me like 15 messages. I ignore him. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm bawling. And I don't even think it's the fact that like, yeah, we're in the gray, but like, I think it's just like, I trusted you and I've just been through so much. Like, I feel like betrayal, but also at the same time, I was like, karma's a bitch. Like in my head, I'm like, this sucks. So, okay, I'm like, whatever, we're in the gray. Like, yes, okay, let's start fresh. And he's like, okay, well, I'm not ready to be exclusive with you. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, whatever, let's date. And then I asked him to come over one night and he's like, I can't, I'm doing a guy's night. I'm like, okay, have fun. He sends me a picture with like all the guys. I'm like, okay, cool. And then later in our relationship, I find out, I start asking more questions because we're girls. We dig, you know, I'm like digging. I'm like, so early on, I was like, did you kiss anyone else? He's like, I kissed a girl a couple weeks ago, whatever. Like, blue. I was like, okay, like whatever, let it go. And then I start digging, like when we're in a relationship. I'm like, so when did you like kiss that girl like that you had like you hooked up with, you know? And And he's like, it was this night, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like putting pieces together. And I'm like, okay, so the night I asked to hang out, you were at guys' night. He ended up going to her house late that night, hooking up with her. The night before he hooked up with me, the night after he comes and hooks up with me. And for a girl, this is just a huge deal. Like, I can't speak for men because he's like, it doesn't mean anything. And I'm like, I get that, but it means something to me. I hung out with that girl the whole next day at a pool party, by the way, next to me. Okay.
And you had no idea?
No idea. So I can't imagine if she would have said the night before, I was like hooking up with Dakota Mortensen.
Is this
like
this Jen girl?
Jenna.
Yes.
Jenna.
Okay, I don't want to make her a big deal because like she's
I
gonna
mean,
think,
she is name dropped all throughout this show.
Yeah.
So
oh, F me.
yeah.
Sorry, Jenna. Okay. Anyways, like
I think Jenna.
it's not about Jenna. It's not. It's about like me feeling insecure and feeling less than and unworthy and not good enough. Like it's not about her. But I'm
and
just-
him lying to you about it.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
And so in my head, that's why I'm still like pissed to this day. Like it triggers me. It's crazy. Like I don't know how I'm not over it. But it's like the feelings of that I wasn't good enough to be chosen. Like at that time, like that night, like I asked you to come over, like, and then you sleep with me the night before and the night after, and I hang out with that girl and you don't say a word. How? Like in my head, I'm like, how did you do that to me? After forgiving you 3 days after hurting me with another girl, like, I'm like, I still to this day, like, have not let it go. Like, I can't. Like,
Has he come fully clean about everything that's happened?
And he's
Okay, he has.
apologized and he's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I know I hurt you. I was in it. It was the gray area. Like, he didn't owe me that, right? Like, and yes, he could go do that. And that's what sucks. And that's like, he didn't cheat or anything.
It's the chosen part.
Yeah.
He made you look like a fool.
Yes. And not only that, but I forgave you for the first one.
Well,
and
I
then
mean, you didn't
went
look
to-
like a fool, but you know what I'm saying?
No.
Like it felt, here you are hanging out with
Absolutely.
the girl the next day. She knows you don't. And like anyone in that
Well,
position.
the day she didn't know. She called him that night because she heard me name drop him.
Okay, that should feel better.
So she hears me name drop. They're like, are you saying anyone? I was like, I don't even think I said his name. I was like, yeah. And then she digged and got his name that it was him.
Yeah.
So she calls him, you seeing Taylor? Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, how serious is it? I don't know what he tells her on the phone on the way to my house. Like, I dig and I dug and I got, details I didn't want to know. And I think it hurt because just the lies of it. And I was already like dead inside, like dying, like of everything else. And so that on top of it was like, whoa, yeah, you don't care about my feelings at all. Like,
do you feel like there's a piece of you that can relate to Dakota not choosing you that night because you didn't choose your husband that
right.
night?
It's my karma. Absolutely. I feel like God is like, this is like your punishment for what you did to your spouse. You're going to feel what you did. So yes, I have like sat in that and been like, I deserve this pain. I still to this day, I'm like, every pain I feel like you deserve it. Like in my head, I'm like, good.
At some point, you're gonna have to
Let it go.
Yeah.
I know. And to progress with him because I'm stuck. I'm stuck in 2022. Like I really
You're
am.
only hurting yourself at this point.
I know. I'm torturing myself and
You
him.
are.
But
Well, let's get into that in a moment. But let's talk about the arrest.
The show
Ugh.
kind of glosses over it, and
Okay.
I can't imagine how hard this is to relive.
Mhm.
I imagine this was a very dark night and something you don't want to think about or talk about often, and I
Mhm.
completely understand that.
yeah.
But I guess I remember seeing it online, and yeah, I would like to know how it got to the point it did. Like,
Yeah.
walk us through that night.
Yeah. I feel like it was a build up. So not just that night. This is post. I had an ectopic a few months prior.
Wow.
And then I had a chemical pregnancy. So obviously don't want to blame hormones, but I will put that into account. Like I am pretty like whack.
What's
Like
a chemical pregnancy?
it's where you lose it so early that like you don't even notice, like most of the time.
But your body is kind of operating as if you're pregnant.
Yes, like
in a way.
you get pregnancy tests and then it just goes, you're not anymore.
Okay.
So I knew because I had taken one and I was, and then I wasn't. So they're like, you probably just lost it really early. So I was like, okay. And so I think hormones are whack at this point. I'm feeling crazy. I'm feeling lost. I don't know what to do. I'm angry. I'm very angry. That's the one emotion I feel, like, which I'm learning in therapy right now is like really good to an extent, right? Not to that point of that night, but like I was finally feeling like emotion. And I feel like that's a step is like anger. And then I end up like drinking that night again, feeling very lost. I hadn't drank really lately in that time, but I was feeling so low that I went and drank that night and had a girls' night. Dakota picks me up. He's angry that I drank and I'm like feeling shitty. I'm crying to the whole way home of like, I hate my life. Like, I'm like saying sorry. Like, I'm so sorry to my family. Like, hysterically sad. And like crying. And I think because the alcohol had taken down that guard, like I could finally feel. And so it was so sad. That night I was so sad. And then I get home and I think about like what Dakota had like put on that. And like it's not his fault, but like I'm like wanting to cling to something. So I like blame him. Like, I hate you. Like, I'm so angry. And, you know, projecting on him. And I'm like throwing things. I remember like throwing things. And I don't know my daughter's on the couch. Like, I had no idea. Like, we had babysitters there. So I think they're upstairs sleeping. And so like I just like started throwing things. I'm like so mad. And I throw a chair, and Dakota's like, hey, like, and he's like, here. And I'm like so gone that I don't care. Like, and I throw another chair, and it like, we don't know if it hit her or not, but like it sounded like it did. So in the police report, it does say like it hit her, but in reality, like we didn't know if it hit her. It might have not have hit her at all. Like
She didn't have any noticeable
no,
injuries.
nothing was there. Like my mom took her that night. They inspected her. Everything was good. But
Was
like
she crying?
I think she was crying because she saw me crying. Like, yeah. And when I got arrested, I was like, he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, no. He's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I'm hurting inside. Like, I can't do it. And so I was like really in the inside. I couldn't cope. And then my daughter's in the window watching me, and I don't care. I'm just so hurt. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I can't imagine.
And I don't care. I feel like so careless. I didn't care. And that's what like hurts is like I didn't think about her, you know, that night. And I ended up getting arrested. I went to jail and I'm sitting in there like hungover. Sorry, I'm trying to tell the story for you guys. Thank you. Oh, that's a hard one to tell. I'm like, yeah, just sitting in the cell and hating my life, of course. And to make matters worse, and I know this is like funny to people like outside, but I was dressed as a man because I was dressed as my ex. Like that was the party. What the theme was like, you're dressed as your ex. So yeah, I have facial hair on at this point.
Your mugshot?
Yeah.
Oh no.
boy.
Well, I think I cried it off, but
Oh boy.
I'm dressed as a man that night, and oh yeah, it's so bad. So I go to the cell dressed as my ex, and
Was your ex involved in the situation? Or was it just you and Dakota? Because it seemed unclear.
oh yeah, just Dakota.
Okay.
Like yeah, with all this, nothing to do
It
with
had
him.
nothing to do with your ex.
No, he was like shocked because I feel like I'm a very calm person. Like I never yelled or did anything in my marriage. So when he heard this, he was like, "What is going on?" You know. Anyways, I go to jail, and then I was filmed leaving the jail. Like I don't know who filmed me, and it hit the internet that day.
What was jail like?
Cold, very cold and depressing. They let everyone go. Like we were in this like holding area, like all together. I don't know what that's called. But this like holding area, I was obviously like I couldn't grasp why I was how did I get here? I was in my thoughts. I was feeling guilty obviously for everything I had done, and you know my life was like going through my like head, and I knew as I got out, like if I get out, like I need to like wake up, like clean up my life. And so yeah, cold. And then I went in this cell, like they kept me and they put me in the cell, and I'm like really freaking out at this point. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I am in so much trouble. I go in a cell, I'm like asking the girl, like, hey, do we stay in here long? Like I don't know anything. I was like,
You're in a cell with other
a-
people, just like
a
you
girl.
see in the movies.
yes. So me and another woman. And I'm like, what are you in here for? Because I was like, I could get beat up, you know? Like, I thought I was going to get beat up because in jail, in the movies, you see it sometimes, you know? So I was like, asking her, what are you in here for? And she was like, yeah, the cop accused me of trying to run him over. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in so much trouble. Like, I'm being put in here. And then she was like, you're going to be okay. And she's like, what did you do? And she's like trying to help me and soothe me because she's a mom and she could tell I was like so scared. Anyways, I was in there for a little bit and then they let me out, but it was just scary thinking about it because I thought I was going to stay in there for a long time. Like I thought I was in jail.
I know you were drunk. Do you remember that night vividly at all? Or
Yeah.
is it you do?
That one I was not like belligerent. I was pretty far gone, but like I do remember being so angry.
Because I remember seeing and I think they show a little bit of
Footage.
body cam footage, and you were saying you were in the garage and you were scared, and Dakota was like coming at you, so you were throwing things to keep him away.
Yeah, I think he was trying to like defend himself and also calm himself, that it wasn't like yeah, I was the aggressor for sure. And I think I can't say it, but there's not much he can do without, like, he's, as a man, he's scared to do anything. So it's like kind of hard for him.
So the kind of, to Natalie's point, the accusations you throw his way that the people are going to see watching this show, you don't stand by.
No, everything was dropped besides the assault, which obviously I did, like, throw things at him. I did, scratch him and, was like going at him. So that is all, true.
Okay.
But everything else was dropped.
So obviously with your children being involved or your child, there's just a lot of sensitivity about this issue. And then obviously it comes with a lot of critics. For the people who follow the story, who are going to watch the show, obviously difficult question, but for the people who do question you as a mother and question the environment that your kids are in, what would you say to them at this point?
It was a really big learning lesson. I feel like, as, this might sound awful, but I feel like that night also came of good because I really got, like, help that I needed. So, like, I instantly got in classes, therapy, like EMDR. Like, it was like a very wake-up call that I needed that I wasn't doing. So I feel like it was my rock bottom to hit, to, like, finally wake up and go get help that I needed. Also to take in my kids' consideration, because I feel like when you're, like, in a really low place, like, I was fine with my ex taking them. Like, I feel like I couldn't be a good mom. So I was like, yes, like, if you're, like, good, like, I feel like I was, like, okay with them being gone a lot. Which now, like, I hate when they're gone. Like, I'll take them at any chance I get. So I feel like you can just tell a difference of, like, healing. At that point, I feel like when I got all those things I needed, it helped me. And as a mom, I feel like, I'm sure maybe not to that extent, but moms can relate, of being so low. You cannot, like, be a fool. You can't be, like, your best self for your kids, And I feel like I'm grateful for that night. So it woke me up to be better for them, if that makes sense. And I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but I feel like in a way it helped me to be better because it woke me up of being, like, I was in this, like, still, like, not being, like, a bad mom, but not being like the best mom I could be. I was, like, so lost,
Yeah.
And so I feel like that night was like, oh my gosh, like, wake up, you need to be better, like, get up and do something. And so I felt like, yes, I hold a lot of that guilt and that stuff, but I'm, like, done having the pity party too. It's like, just wake up and be better. And try harder, at least. You can.
I mean, that makes sense after watching the show.
Yeah.
Especially with your character arc. It starts off the Taylor Frankie Paul that we met online. And you come across incredibly troubled, toxic.
Yes.
You get arrested. I think there's a lot of questions, episode 1, of, like, is this person, fit to be a mother?
Yeah.
And then going forward, you really seem like you are turning a corner. You really seem like there's
I hope.
demonstrations of healthy behavior.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate you talking about this with us. Obviously, it's difficult. And
I
obviously,
always
no
think
matter
it'd be
what,
easier, but it never does.
And no matter what you say, I'm sure there'll be people criticizing, your answers. And then I think the sensitivity of the issue with children being involved, but you seem like you're trying to be better.
Yeah. And I want to, for my kids. And I feel like that right now, that's, like, my top priority. And I told Dakota that, like, I'm sorry that we've had our struggles, but they come number 1 right now. Like, I've been putting them, second, and that's not fair. And, I want them, like, at any time I can. And I won't, like, obviously, like, yeah, with the critics and whatnot, I know I messed up. I was a shitty mom at that time. I did a very bad thing. I'm well aware. Thank you. Like, I know. But, like, I think after that is what really, like, matters. And I feel like all I want is them to be happy. And so even with all of this, it's, like, hard.
It seems like a lot of these things that have happened in your life that you're not so proud of kind of stem from alcohol. What is your relationship with alcohol today?
Yeah. I have been sober for 2 years. So the night of, I haven't drank since. So
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you. I think that is kind of like a no-brainer, and that is the goal, is to never, touch that again. Obviously, I don't like to say never, and it's just, like, more, it's a goal you want to have,
What's your soda drink? Learn that about the Mormons.
Diet Dr. Pepper with some goods in there, coconut,
Okay.
I'm an energy drink girl, though, like, through and through. I chug those like water. It's not good, but with mom life, I'm just like, let's go,
Okay.
I need something. And then also, like, I feel like I got help with, I go to psychiatrists and things, like, medications that, help, like, to take the edge off, and, like, anxiety meds.
You mentioned EMDR. I've done EMDR
Yeah.
therapy before. Yeah, it's incredibly helpful.
It's hard, huh?
It is very hard.
Mhm.
You very much relive your
Mhm.
trauma. But as someone who's on the other side of a lot of her trauma, it is very incredibly helpful. And
Yeah.
if anyone is like has been through anything, look for EMDR because it's crazy what that therapy
Yeah.
can do.
It is, and it can help. And I feel like
Yeah.
anything, even counseling, like we're in couples therapy as well, and that's amazing. And it's really cool because they just help you to learn the tools that you need
Mhm.
to communicate.
When did some of the other women who are part of the cast, who, if anyone, reached out, or how did you get back in with that group?
Whitney is the one
Whitney?
who reached out. Yep.
I didn't expect that answer.
Yeah. She called me when she heard the other side of the story from other people, the girls. And she was like, something about that story is really not fit. Like it's something is sus. And she was like, I want to hear your side. And so I was like, okay, I'll tell you everything. So she came over and I told them everything that happened. And they're like, yeah, you did a shitty thing, but like we're getting told a whole bunch of lies over here. Like, and so they're just like, yeah, we're gonna.
You were everyone's scapegoat?
Yeah, I feel like they all just eventually became my friend again. Like they first, judged the situation, was like, okay, I don't know, right? As anyone would.
Sure.
They eventually came over and a lot of them were friends with me still. And then it kind of split up MomTok because it was like, if you're friends with Taylor, then we're staying on this side. So it kind of was like this major divide.
Yeah.
So MomTok isn't just all the women we've gotten to know.
There was like 20 of us, maybe about 20 of us.
Wow.
There's a lot of us. And so
we're
everyone's
all,
scattered.
Were all the people in the original swinger groups part of MomTok in some way?
No. One was from.
Just one. Your best friend.
Yep.
Okay.
You started MomTok, right?
Yeah, like our group. Yes.
Does Whitney agree?
I don't know, honestly, but it's true. Like I started it.
How did you start it?
I mean, it's not really that deep. Like I just was started mom like content, invited a couple moms over. I was like, let's make some TikToks. They ended up blowing up. So we're like, okay, cool. This is like something people like. Let's do it again. And then more and more and more just kept coming.
Okay.
And then she eventually made her way in the group.
Whitney.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know if she liked us or not, but she continued. And it was more like business too, though. Like we do this for a living.
So Whitney brought you back in the group.
Mm-hmm.
Were you like filming a pilot before you got arrested? Like
Yes.
It was. So like you guys were just kind of.
It was like
let's just shoot something, see if we have anything.
Yep.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't a actual show at that point.
No, nope. They did a full episode, I believe. Yeah,
Okay.
maybe a full, maybe not even. But yeah. And then I think we were waiting on a green light. So, and then in the midst of that, that's when the arrest happened.
Who invited you back?
On the show,
Yeah.
producers, like I was like getting like phone calls, management, and like, well, we might invite you. Like I think I was coming in as a friend character, like
Friend of show.
yes. And so I'm like, no, like I was like, I don't want to be in the middle of like not knowing and knowing, because I was like, my life's been on kind of hold for this. Like, I think I might, I had plans of doing other stuff. And so I'm like, I either want to know if I'm in this or not, and so I think they it took more time and they're like, okay, yes, you're in full cast.
Did you feel like that was a decision that the producers had to make, and then subsequently also the women? Like, was there almost like, did you have to get approval from the women as well? Because it seems like you're either in or you're out with the group, almost in a way.
It was funny because I didn't hear. Well, I heard. I didn't know like that the girls were saying. They're like, wait, Taylor's coming back on? I'm like, no, not Taylor's coming back on. So I don't know. It was just like shocking that some weren't like fans are I guess supportive of it. But then I think a lot were too, because they're like, this is kind of like how it ties in all of us together, So I don't know if it was up to them. I think at the end of the day, it was up to like the production. But
Sure.
But I mean, I don't know.
So did you say yes to coming back before you knew how the women felt about you returning?
Yeah, I did, and then I found out, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm still like, I mean, what is what
give a
it is." Yeah, pretty much.
I
You took it out of my mouth.
don't respect that, but where do you draw the line? And I assume that you struggle with this, because just to be on reality TV
Mm,
is to accept drama in your life.
Yeah.
You are inviting it in your life.
mhm.
In fact, it's part of the job.
Yeah.
As someone who is actively working on themselves,
Mhm.
going to therapy,
Yes.
obviously, still dealing with the arrest
Mhm.
and the fallout of that.
Yeah.
How do you balance that? What boundaries or things do you put in place to not only protect you, but again, your children, knowing that you still have to at least present
Mm-hmm.
or embrace drama in your life while simultaneously trying to heal
Mm-hmm.
from the wounds of your past?
Yeah, I feel like it was hard to do both, but Dakota and I did set boundaries like, hey, for our relationship too. And he was very clear to, I think, like, production, like, Taylor is my main priority. And like, if anything gets in the way of that, like, I don't want to be doing this. And so, they agreed to like work with us on that. I think we'll see how the show is. I think so. But we did know we had to like, there was, with reality, like you said, there's drama and whatnot. But I held off a lot, I think, till the end of the season. And I kind of kept things like closed off. And then I think we have a pretty big fight on a couch. I don't know if that's in there.
There's a lot of talk of you fighting.
Okay.
But we don't really...
You don't see the fight on the couch? Well, it's good stuff for them, but surprising.
It's hard to tell. You guys...
Are you talking about after Vegas?
You guys are fighting a lot.
I don't know before, I believe.
With Macy there?
Mm-hmm.
That one?
Yes,
that one's
we
in
saw.
there.
Yes, we saw.
Yeah, so that's when I let loose and kind of like, we don't know cameras are here. Like, I get triggered.
Wow.
He's like, okay, he's trying to calm me down. I was like, nah, this is what you did. And I like go off and I'm like, there's no control. I'm like triggered. I'm angry. And I feel like it's confusing why I'm hurting so bad anyways in the show. Like, why can't you give in? All these questions. And I feel like I just finally release it. And it's kind of like, oh, okay, this is why you're hurting so bad. This is why you cannot move forward or you're scared, right? And so with letting that out, yes, I did let out some of his dirty laundry, but I'm like, it also like, I had to tell some of that story, and it was hard. And so, he was very stern on boundaries, and I need to remember that because I'm kind of a loose cannon. I'm unpredictable as well. I feel like I very like don't think, before I speak.
Is that something you're still working through?
I'm working on, yeah. I feel like with a lot of interviews I've been doing lately in press, I feel like I've really tried to think before I like spoke, and had respect for, him. And I have to remember it's like his story too. So I need to be respectable of like him in his privacy. So with the balance with kids, I feel like I've just really been trying to be present when I'm with them, full attention, and with work, full attention, like trying to be when I'm there to give it my all,
Was your ex-husband in any way considered for this show? Or
He was.
In what conversations do you continue to have with him, or what had you had with him? Because he's noticeably not present.
He considered it. I think him and his partner went, fiance, they went back and forth, and I think they decided it's best that they don't.
Okay.
And they're like, can we keep the kids off? So we didn't show my children, their faces in the show. And he's like, I think they kind of wanted to see how it went, what it's going to be and whatnot. So yeah.
So it sounds like you're on relatively good terms with him at this point?
Yeah, we're great. We go to soccer games every week together.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we talk daily. I mean, you kind of have to co-parenting, but...
Sure, but I mean, honestly...
You don't have to be friends, and we are.
I kind of had the impression that was still a toxic situation. I had no really idea. That was just honestly an assumption I made based off of what I'm watching. So it is nice to hear that.
Yeah, it was Dakota, and then ex-husband, been great ever since we divorced.
Is there a world where we might see him in the future? Is that something that they're...
I don't know. I think he'll play it by ear and see the show, and he'll decide, and depending on how you guys think it looks, that'll be his probably. I don't know if he's interested in that, but we'll see.
Macy has a lot of opinions.
Yes,
about Dakota.
Yeah.
Like, where do you guys stand now? Because it seems like she is not letting up. You said earlier, Dakota's completely come clean. You're on the same page. You're still trying to work through the lie, but you now know what the lie is.
Yeah.
Macy keeps operating as if there's more to the lie, and she's playing detective.
Well, yeah, we did get the anonymous message saying that there was like another girl. And of course, in my head, I'm like, if there's one more, I am 100% out. And I've made that so clear. So I'm like, please come clean. If there's anyone else at that time in the gray, just tell me, okay? And he said, no, like I've told you everything. Like I'm not worried. That came from just like people trying to stir crap up. And so I was like, okay. And I make that pretty clear. I think you see in the show, like if there was anything else that came out, I would be absolutely gone. I wouldn't think about it. I'd be done.
As far as you stand now, there's nothing else?
Nope, not that I know of. But I think with the show coming out, it'll stir things up.
Spoken with, yeah.
And girls will come out just to do it. And so I do have to take that in. of like I would need like full on like proof and stuff. Like, I mean, I think girls are going to say things just to
Have
say
you
'em.
spoken with Jenna?
No.
You have not.
No. And she tried to, I think I had a problem with her because she was trying to reach out to him in October. And like, she was in Europe, he was in Europe. She's trying to like see him. And I'm like, yeah, he's in a relationship, sweetheart. Like, no.
And then you were full on pregnant then, right?
Yeah, but no one knew at that point.
Okay.
It was still hidden. And then after the arrest, again, Jenna reaches out and says, checking in with Dakota. I'm like, girl, no, leave him alone. And so I think there's just the issue of like, I just don't know why she has like, I know she's like maybe being a good friend, but like, no, I don't know. I hate it because she's probably going to be sent this podcast if it's on. And I'm like, and I am in her circle.
I think she wants to be on the show.
We're in the circle with her. So she's in my hometown. Like I will run into her in due time. If she's not on the show, if we have a second season, I don't know.
So did they do more than kiss?
They hooked up. I got into
Is hooking up? I don't.
They didn't do anything crazy. It was like a high school thing. But I needed details. So I asked every specific question.
But it's like the timeline is off. I mean, what's in question? What is
It was,
Macy
did
trying
he
to
do more than kiss, right? Because he
No.
told you he just kissed her, and then
or
it was
was
like,
it after you met her? What would have to come up? Like, what's your big, like, if I find out this to be true, we're done.
Oh, the anonymous message? Or something with Jenna? Because if
Or
okay,
either or.
hypothetically, let's say.
Well, it seems like Macy thinks there's something with Jenna. I don't know if this is like a misdirect or whatever, the show just making more drama, or if there's actually something there. It sounds like you don't even know.
Yeah.
But what would be the thing, if anything?
Oh, okay. So I guess if there was a third girl, hypothetically, like the anonymous message says, right? Because he told me about the first two, right? He got in trouble for the one, he admitted, and then Jenna, he admitted. So if there's a third one out there, I'm saying, then I would be gone.
I'm not a good lie detector, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I know people can be very convincing liars,
Mm-hmm.
but I believed Dakota.
Yeah. I
And that-
believe him too. That's why I'm with him.
Like
But I mean, there's a part of you that's like, if anything comes out, just know where I stand, right?
yeah.
I do believe him though. Absolutely. I wouldn't be with him.
Well, where do you draw the line with your friends between like stay out of my business versus like them trying to be a friend? Or are they trying to be a friend? Or are they really just caring about the drama and pretending to be your friend?
Yeah.
Like, how do you draw that line?
I feel like I didn't draw any lines with that. I was kind of like, if Macy, you're trying to be a protective friend, like I appreciate it. And then, but also at the same time, like if you're trying to get information from Jenna, I don't blame you. Like get it for me, like, so there's a line. I'm like, Dakota, don't be scared then. If you have nothing to worry about, don't be worried about it, in my head. So I'm like, Macy, you do you. Dakota, you do you. Like, yes, I could tell her to be like, don't do that, stop. But at the end of the day, I mean, I wouldn't care to know either, so.
True. I guess it just depends at this point. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And it seems like timelines are muddy and details are gray.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have
like,
no
what-
doubts when the show comes out, it'll stir stuff up and
Yeah.
things will come out. Yes.
are you and Dakota prepared for that?
I think I've just taken it for what it is. Like, I just can fully expect that things are going to be thrown my way and people are going to be like, this happened. I'm like, I have to really did it, I don't know.
In the spirit of just protecting your mental health and obviously being involved in the show, are you two like doing any kind of like a couples therapy?
Yes,
You are.
we
Okay.
are. And it's some major, like 3-hour sessions. Like these people are amazing. It's a husband and a wife that
Mhm.
help us. And it's a really cool dynamic, actually. They've been amazing. And we had a fight like on the couch with them. And they really helped us like come together and see eye to eye. It was really cool.
I think it's one of those things you have to be willing to have the tough conversations with each other.
Mhm.
Every couple has their issues, right? Every couple has their moments. And I think, it's just knowing that, continue to be transparent and have been transparent, even during difficult times.
Yeah.
Like, I think the only time you bring in outside voices is when you're not sure if the conversations happening between the two of you are as authentic as you hope they would be.
Yeah.
And I think
Mhm.
sometimes that can be a process in relationships. And I think that's part of the reason why I felt like I believed Dakota, because I saw a guy who again, maybe he's just a really good liar, but I saw a guy who seemed exhausted trying to figure out how he can get you to believe
Mm-hmm.
him.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, all I can tell you is what happened. I have told you.
Yes.
What I have told you is already hard enough to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
What more could I say?
Yeah.
and
No, 100%.
I've related to that feeling.
Yeah.
That being said, doesn't mean he's couldn't be lying. Again, I'm not a lie detector, but
No, and I think it's fear. For me, it's fear of like, I guess I'm learning this in therapy, but I'm very still right now. Like I don't want to progress. I don't want to move because I'm very safe here, like in where my spot is, right?
Mhm.
Like if I surrender fully, then it's more like I could get hurt if I find anything else out. If something happens, I get really hurt. But I'm learning it's just more of like safety, and I'm like just scared, I guess.
A lot of the women talk about what mom talk means to them, and it's some sort of like bigger thing.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you? Or is it just something you guys get to do for a job, for fun?
Yeah.
Or is it, or do you want it to have a deeper meaning? Like, you don't seem to be one of the women in this group that really is a part of the church or super religious, where it almost seems like with some of the other women, mom talk is a statement, or it's some sort of way to express themselves, to rebel against the church.
Yeah.
But is that what it is for you?
No, I feel like for me, it started all for fun. And I feel like for us moms, like we all had something in common. You're with kids all day. So I feel like to go out and like have fun with your friends and make content and something you do, it was fun. And so I feel like that's why I started it. And then it did become about more business because yes, it was blowing up and we do this for a job, right? We do like obviously TikTok. So it was like, come in, let's make content and then let's go home, honestly. Like, but I feel like during the filming and even before, like the friendships, the ones I had, I lost so fast. So it was like I'm kind of terrified of friendships too, like being super close with girls, because like I just learned that it gets messy fast, And so like I've been there with them and getting close with them, but also very hesitant and like afraid of like, I guess, surrendering to friends as well. Like I think I'm just in a fearful spot, to be honest.
Which of the ladies are you closest with at this point?
I would say Macy I'm pretty close with, but I feel like during filming I got really close with Jessie and Demi. All of them really in different ways, but I love Jessie. She's a little go-getter and I feel like I relate with her a lot on things, and she has her own story to tell and we related a lot. And then Demi also in a way. But I
enjoyed them both.
I don't know how much they show of like the storylines and theirs, but they have such good stories too. But yeah.
Okay. And then where do you guys stand with Whitney?
Whitney, I love Whitney, but she's she changes her mind every day. I think she really
is she the Regina George she seems like? Because she gives Regina George watching.
Does
it.
she?
Just watching it. Yeah. I mean, again, it's reality TV, so who knows? You know her. We don't know her. We just watched her.
Well, I know she had some really not nice things to say about me, and I don't know how much they go into that, but I was shocked. I was like, I had no idea you felt this so strongly about me. Like,
she seems like she fucking hates you.
Oh, okay, yeah. So there's like this built up resentment, and I'm like, I didn't even know. And then I apologized because I didn't know. And there might have been some selfish moments I did, because when she was telling us her heavy stuff, I was talking about mine. And like, I can relate. I was not a good friend.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I definitely, sure, you were self-centered. You definitely stole the spotlight. Yes, that's like, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But in that moment, I was a little taken back by Whitney. Here she is talking about this very difficult situation with her husband.
Yeah.
And the response from the women, more, I guess, than anything, was like, it seemed odd that she wanted to keep the spotlight on her unfaithful husband.
But maybe not the spotlight, maybe just her feelings. She wanted to feel like...
No, I get it. No, I understand. But it just seemed like a weird... I almost would like, if I had to come in and tell my friends about like something, my family member did, or I felt really hurt and I felt really embarrassed and wrong, and then I tell them the story and they don't come across as that judgmental or critical, and then someone else is like, hey, bye, I got some shit to deal with. I almost would feel glad that they're not like... Because in a lot of those situations... A lot of the women could have been like, I mean, shit, the way they talked to fucking Jen about, what's his name?
Zach. Yeah.
It could have been that, and it was almost as if like Whitney wanted the attention so bad, it didn't even matter how she got the attention.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was accurate or not. It's like, you shouldn't have opened your mouth, but I don't know. I didn't feel like, it seemed like a weird hill for her to die on.
It wasn't my intention though, to be like, this is what happened to me. I guess I was trying to relate of like,
we're all going through stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I didn't fault you all that much. I honestly thought it was bizarre that Whitney was so mad at you.
I mean, I think it was built up resentment. I was like, it must be. And then there was like a whole nother day, I think that's not even in the show, of like, oh, she went hard on me. And I was like, whoa.
I mean, Whitney's a little calculated, and I don't fault, I've been accused of being calculated. I don't even think being a calculated person means you're a bad person. That being said,
I think
that being said,
depends how you use it.
Knowing that Whitney reached out to invite you in the group, is there a world where you think Whitney invited you in to make sure that you were the villain?
Maybe. And I think she thought, I'd definitely be the villain. I think it was like, I don't think anyone had any speculation that Whitney was going to be the villain. And I think Whitney thought I would be the villain. And everyone else, honestly, I don't know.
It sure looks like Whitney thought you were going to be the villain and planned on you being the villain.
Yes, yes. I think that's what it was she was wanting it to look like. And honestly, I was at the point where I'm like, I'm exhausted of being the villain. Like, I'm sorry. For whatever I did, I'm sorry. Like, that was my goal. Like, I'm tired of hurting people. If I hurt you, valid, let's fix it, you know?
Has she apologized to you for all of the nasty things she said about you?
I don't know if she apologized for that, but she was like, I think, how can we come together type
Because
thing.
it seems like you're like, yeah, Whitney this, Whitney. Like, you seem very positive about her. And so to hear and to have watched all of the things she said and the way she acted towards you, it just makes me feel protective over you of like,
I haven't even seen it.
Don't let her in,
like,
don't let her walk over you. Don't let her in. Like, have that wall up with her because she does feel a little.
That's what everyone's telling me too.
Well, there's this weird thing people do, right?
Yes.
You fucked up. We know this. We've talked about this. You did some bad things. You're currently still paying the consequences. You have a PO. I imagine that's difficult. You will continue to have to face criticisms and judgments from the crowd. People are going to respond to this episode, have thoughts and feelings about what you said. I'm sure some people will still criticize you.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be, it seems like, people who still feel like, despite, you having paid consequences or whatever, it's like they decide for themselves if they think that you have answered whatever, judgments they think you should answer for.
Yeah.
And Whitney comes across, and again, I don't know her as a person, who's decided if she thinks if you are contrite enough, if you've paid the appropriate consequences, and it's like she acts as if she gets to decide whether you've done enough yet.
Yeah.
And regardless of whatever the legal aspects that you're dealing with or all the other consequences that your actions have brought, it seems like, and Whitney's not the only one who's like this, where they just decide that they should be the ones who feel like you should pay certain consequences, and they do that, socially. They, socially ostracize you. They'll talk shit behind your back. They'll spread rumors, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
It is interesting to hear that Whitney actually was the one who brought you in and was willing to hear your other side of the story, because the Whitney we get to watch in this upcoming season is quite the opposite.
Yes. That's why I think I was kind of shocked and taken back. I was like, oh, like, I didn't know there were all these like built up feelings, And I had to tell her that, like, because she did tell me, like, you're like being forgiven for all these things you've done. And I was like, you're seeing all maybe the good things, but you don't remember, like, I'm the one in my DMs. I'm reading all the negative comments. Like, you must be looking on a different thing because I see it every single day. Like, it's crazy to think that you think that I have no haters out there. Like, I have a ton. It's insane, actually. But so I was like, I fair that you feel that way, but not the case. Like, I mean, you must be reading another article about me because I'm not reading that same one,
Well, part of it is this, like, there's we all deal with it, right? Like, there's a self-centeredness in social media. No one sees your comments more than you.
Yeah.
Whether it's praise or criticism, it's the loudest for whoever it is.
Yeah.
So for Whitney, her criticism, I'm sure, feels really intense. And for Demi, for Michaela, I'm sure for everyone feels like no one has it worse than them.
Yeah.
And until you actually just kind of look up and kind of maybe just put yourself in other people's shoes, then you maybe can empathize a little bit. But it seems like Whitney is she comes across as very aware of what's going on in Whitney's world. Yeah. I don't know if that's accurate or fair, but that's how it comes across.
No, and I think other people see that even in our friend group. They're like, it's just like something as simple as a dinner, They're like, let's maybe not invite Whitney. I'm like, no, we're like, Whitney's coming. Like, we're inviting Whitney. And then they're like, just be careful. Like, they're like, I don't think you know how she like feels about you. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm unaware. I don't know.
Well, maybe you don't care. Maybe you're still willing to be someone to her, regardless of how she is to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know what show it does in the show, but I'm like that's not my priority in life. Like, I don't really care if you guys like me or don't. Like, my relationship and my kids are right now the main thing. I'm sorry, I cannot give you a good friendship right now. Maybe when things have calmed down, but you don't. And I think I literally tell her on the show, and she's like, I just feel like you don't try. And I'm like, I'm not going to. Like, I'm not going to be the friend that you need from me. I'll be here as like a cordial friend. We do business together. We're filming. Like I'm here, but I cannot try that. Like let's hang out or let's do this. Like try that extra effort because it's not there right now for me. And I'm very clear to. I feel like most of them about that.
How do you want people to see you?
I don't even know how I see me sometimes. I feel like I'm still learning. I still struggle a lot. I feel like with mental health, like I feel like very lost sometimes. And I feel like Dakota's like, I feel like you don't even know what you want. Like you're very lost. Like, what do you want?
Do you still question? I mean, it comes up a lot during the show, but do you still question whether you're a good person or not?
Yeah, I do. And I fully don't think I'm like I think I've done better and lessons have been learned. But I feel like I have a long way to go, and I feel like I could be better. And I have not forgiven myself, and I don't know how people actually do that for the things I've done.
Are you speaking more specifically of with regards to
all of it? Like I guess what I did to my best friend. Like no, my husband. I have a lot of guilt with that. Like how did I do that? And I deserve what I got from Dakota. And how did I do that night with my kids there? Like there's just so much like.
I think the kids part.
It's hard.
I hear
don't
you
know.
on that, hanging on to that guilt.
Mhm.
The other stuff feels like a lot of people were involved. A lot of people made a lot of decisions.
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of blame to go around.
But at the end of the day, I know what I did.
I think you could still hold yourself accountable
Mm-hmm.
for what you did,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you are, without taking other people's blame as well.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
living in it.
Yeah.
I think like thinking about it, living in it every single day is not good for your kids. I
Yeah.
think moving on and closing that chapter and saying, okay, that was fucked up. I did a fucked up thing, but the person I am today,
Yeah.
whole different person. And that I think is what you focus on and you lean towards and
Mm-hmm.
for your kids, I think.
No, and I agree, and that's why I'm like saying like the pity party needs to stop. Like when I get in that space of like, just stop crying about it, Taylor. Like get up and just like try harder.
But I hate that you say that you think you're a bad person. I don't think you're a bad person.
Yeah,
I
don't
think
know.
I think you've made mistakes and you've done a couple of bad things, but I don't think that makes you a bad person.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know necessarily. Like I feel like I've most of the time, 99% of the time, good intentions with people. Like I feel like I never go for someone like with bad intentions. So in that sense, like I feel like overall I'm a decent person. Like I mean well. Or
Yeah.
like
Well, and there's also just a lot of examples of reality TV stars who claim to do the work. We follow a lot of different reality TV shows.
Yeah.
We follow a lot of different scandals.
Is it crazy? I've never seen really reality TV.
No, it's not that crazy.
I'm new to it. I had to binge.
Yeah, it makes sense. No, it's not that crazy.
I'm like, what did I?
But we see. I mean, we talk about Raquel, Rachel, Vanderpump. There's a person who talks about have gone to doing the work and therapy and mental health, but everything she is doing online seems still incredibly toxic, destructive, spiteful, evil, even. And so, listen, on this show, we recognize we all make mistakes, some more than others. Some mistakes are very serious and they require legal consequences, which you're dealing with. But people can make changes. People can improve. People can do the work. And I think that's what comes down to. It's like a lot of people say they're sorry. A lot of people say they want to change. Very few people actually do.
Yeah.
But it seems like you're actually doing it.
Yeah.
And trying. And
I won't say there's not other toxic aspects of my life, like still like drama, like with the girls and stuff. Like
we all have drama. To be
the main things. Yeah.
Like no one's expecting you to not be dramatic at times. But
Yeah.
It's.
I thought where you were going with that is my petty little TikTok I recently did.
What did you do?
I just posted one that stirred up so much drama, like
Do you wanna address
resurfaced. It was just like dumb, but it was.
What was it?
It was more like about the girls, like the way they said they didn't want to do the show because they were offered it and they said they chose their families on a podcast. And so I was petty and I told the truth and I stirred that up. But
Any regrets there?
no, I felt good.
Was that any of the girls that are on the show today?
No, but they someone went on a podcast and talked about it.
So you're still a work in progress.
Yeah. And Dakota was like, Taylor, why? He's like, why did you do this? And I was like, he's like, do you feel bad? And I was like, not at all. It feels so good. Like, it wasn't that deep.
Okay.
It was more like silly. It was more silly.
Yeah.
So let's close with you and Dakota. assuming he's telling you the truth, how
Mhm.
do you get over it?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it is a lot of self work. I already know that. Like, it's past the Jenna, it's past Dakota. It's me. It's like, how am I going to get past this of feeling worthy? You know, it's all those feelings inside that keep me in this place, and honestly, just taking a jump of like being full surrender. And if you get hurt in the process, that's just part of it. You know.
I mean, you survived this much already.
Yeah, I'm like, I've been through hard stuff. Like, if anything happens, that's where therapy work comes in. Is like, no matter what happens on his end, you're going to be okay. And that is like where you need to get to a point. Like, if it happens and he does awful things, it's okay. Not that he will, but if it happens, everything's going to be okay, you know? And so that's where we're at. And I love him so much, and he's a great partner. He's a good man, and I do want to marry him. That's the goal. But I feel like I just need some self-work before, you know?
How's the baby?
So good. He's amazing. He's here. Well, not here, but the hotel.
He's doing well? You enjoying it?
Yeah, I'm not sleeping, and we're go.
How
But
old?
we're surviving 5 months.
5 months, okay.
So we're close with
Mhm.
Ribby.
Yeah.
We are close with Ribby.
Are you sleeping good?
She does pretty good. She wakes up maybe every now and then once around like 4 or 5.
Oh, yeah,
and
so she's pretty good
and
for the most part. Then.
Nick will
She's pretty
bring her
good.
into the bed, and we all
Yeah.
kind of half asleep, half awake cuddle.
Yeah.
And so
No
we're doing
judgment.
okay.
Do what you do. You know, I bring him in the bed too. I'm like, I'm gonna sleep a little bit here now.
You do what you have to do to survive.
Yeah.
Well, Taylor, we appreciate you coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming, and thanks for being so open. I know this wasn't easy to talk to, but
Yeah. 2 years late, but here we are.
here we are. We wish you the best, and we wish you all the happiness in your life, and you and Dakota and your family, and you know, keep doing what you're doing. It sounds like you're on a good path.
I hope so. Thank you guys so much, both of you.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to send in those questions at asknick@thevowfiles.com for all things texting office hours. We'll see you back tomorrow. Bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.